1, 2, 3. As someone that has about 200 tabs plus open on their browser right now that are all somehow related to my goals, I can say that I'm one of the world's leading experts on flooding yourself with information to the point that you're drowning, but you refuse to close any single tab of them because God forbid you're gonna need one of them 2 months down the line. Yes, I'm a digital hoarder, and by God, I'm proud of it. The funny thing about all of this is that this is a hilariously recent problem. 2005, dial-up internet. 2025, 500 minutes of content are being uploaded every single second on YouTube. Congrats! In the period of me saying this sentence, a whole new season of Friends was just uploaded. Now, while this is great for our brain rot aficionados, thank you, you keep the internet going. It is really harmful if you're trying to achieve any long-term visions that are related to your current needs and goals. We all know that familiar rabbit hole where you're working on something and then you just happen to need to look up a video, a tutorial, an idea on YouTube, and before you know it, you found an interesting video on the homepage and now you just lost an hour of your life. Congrats! So how do we combat this? Well, firstly, after you install the Unhook extension, not affiliated at all, I just really like their product because it's saving my life as we speak. Because, I have to shoot this, edit it, do it in parts, that whole thing. The thing is, we have to realize a fallacy here. You cannot watch every single piece of content or media that you are/would be interested in. There is physically not enough hours in a day to watch everything that you may want to watch. It is quite literally the definition of a losing battle. Unless you somehow have the technology to pull off watching something at 1000x speed flash style. So, alright then, gotcha. What next? Well, how do you want to die? Wrong vibe. I mean, what matters most to you in your life in the terms of your goals and desires? Do you want to be super worldly and familiar with the world? Do you want to be the best in a certain field? Is it money? Is it power? Is it status? Understanding the human mind to live some certain place with some certain lifestyle, it's quite an endless list as we've pretty much surmised. Your life and mine are quite limited. We're all going to die, and it's much quicker than any of us ever really expect, so it's better to account for it sooner rather than later. What kind of story do you want to write? Who do you want as your co-author? Certainly you can't write every single plotline and subplot, regrettably or fortunately depending on how you see it, but most of us can at least strive for a happy ending, or at least the framing of one. There are hundreds of different figures and archetypes, alive and dead, fiction and real, and so it makes the most sense to model the ones whose stories you enjoy the most. If I'm trying to become the greatest investor in the world, maybe it's much wiser, let's go with that. English. I'm trying to learn German, it's a long story. It's much wiser to go after Warren Buffett for investing advice rather than J.R.R. Tolkien, even though he is quite a brilliant writer in his own right. You noticed that pun? But that may already be quite obvious to you. I always knew I had brilliant people watching me, and I'm certainly not just saying that to extend the watch time videos of my already very small bite-sized videos. Certainly not at all. Ha ha ha. And I certainly didn't script this part in. Or this too. The cake is a lie, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing is freaking real. As I was saying, looking for the best people in a field may already be quite an obvious point, but the point that may not be quite so, and the one that we get way more often tripped up in, is that, well, we can't see them when they were at our current point in time, when they were solving the problems that we are facing right now as we speak. And sometimes we can't even do it when we know the person that we're trying to model. What could I possibly learn from Henry Ford about getting a business off the ground in a digital age when they've never done it? I mean, of course I'd be able to pick up some very good baseline principles, a customer's first approach, the importance of delegation, knowing how to create a wonderful product. But how would I apply that over the internet based on those principles? Let's take an even more recent example. How would businesses that happened before the 2000s teach us about how to market businesses with social media? And so you realize that you need to get hyper specific about the problem that you are solving in order to get the best possible advice that you can get that is applicable to your current situation with your particular tools and knowledge. So rather than a Henry Ford biography, I might pick up Dot-Com Secrets by Russell Brunson. And some books really are timeless, and that's because they rely on fundamental aspects that usually never change, mostly about people. How to Influence and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, these kind of books. It doesn't rely on technology that can get outdated or rely on specific tools. Like, I'm sure that there are books that were written on how to use a typewriter faster, but those books are now obsolete because they try to solve a problem that doesn't exist anymore. So the idea is that you find the best resources on the very specific problem that you're facing right now. When you solve it, you keep on going until you find the next problem. Until then, this cycle inevitably repeats itself. Always leaving good margin to explore things that are outside of that problem, because sometimes you can make very interesting and helpful connections that can give birth to novel solutions. But realizing that the earlier cycle is the main part and the main idea of the whole process. Glad to be back after a fairly long hiatus. If you like these videos with my own little flair on it, I'd appreciate you sticking around. And with that, well, just take a look at my description and bye.